What's up, everyone? Welcome to My Black is Transnational. And I got on the show special guest, my boy going way back to the U of I Champagne days. I got my mans. Y'all may know him musically if you heard some of his amazing work, on Spotify, wherever you listen to your music. We got the Boyillinois. Some of y'all may know him as Illy the Kid. Y'all may know him as Illy D. Williams. Y'all got different aliases, man. But we affectionately know him as the Boyillinois here in our Champagne community, William Dalton.
Yep.
Representing Eastside Chicago, But bro, thanks for joining the show, man. Thanks for coming to My Black is Transnational to speak about your transnational experiences, man.
No problem, man. I appreciate you for having me.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I know I did a little introduction, but I do want to take a couple minutes to allow you to just talk to people who may or may not know who you are. Just speak on where you're from, your cultural background, and everything that is who you are, bro.
Yep, I'm born and raised in Chicago. Actually, I'm a mixed kid. Chicago, half of my life, and the other half is in the south suburbs. My father's Haitian. Never really got the chance until as of late, maybe within this year, of identifying and meeting that side of the family. My grandmother and my grandfather and my auntie passed when I was young, so I never really got to connect with that side of the family. But my mom, rest in peace, she had a big family, so like that took up as much family as needed. There was 12 kids. My grandma had 12 kids, so I had 9 aunties and 2 uncles. So I grew up with a lot of women. Just knew how to treat a lady coming up. Music was embedded in me. My pops is a musician. My sister is a musician. So I started singing in the choir when I was younger in the church. And then after that, I started writing raps in like 5th grade after a Shaq commercial. And then from there, I just rewrote a lot of songs that I like taped them on the radio and like rewrote for my like a verse to replace their verse. And then from there, it was battle rapping. So I battle rapped in high school a lot around the Chicago area. Especially at lunchtime, that was of course, but like in malls, anywhere we would meet up, and then when I got to U of I, well, even shortly right before U of I, my senior and junior year, that's when I was with a group called Family Affair. It's called Free Agents back then, but it's Family Affair. And that's when the mixtapes really started in general. Yeah. So we was making mixtapes and selling them around the south suburbs and in the city during the taste. We built up quite a name. I went to U of I my freshman year. I ain't do nothing but party and just like experience college.
Who did it?
Yeah, so it was just like I was just being a kid. You know what I'm saying? So the kid with freedom. Sophomore year. Well, no, actually, I did rap a little bit freshman year. I got into a beef with Lab 309, which was hilarious. It was the funniest thing ever. It was just some rap stuff, and that's back when Facebook first came out. So like we was posting diss songs on people's walls. And stuff like that. So that was interesting. And then from there, shout out to my homie Jeff Osuji and Femi Masha, because they the first 2 people to put me on the stage. So my first performance was in the Union at during homecoming weekend. And then like I just remember that was my first time performing solo, because I did it with a group plenty of times, but solo, that was my first performance. And then girls was like, "Are you signed? I was like, whoa, this is pretty cool." So then trajectory from there, left U of I, and then started doing that full time. That was a job. It was a struggling job, but it was a job. And I grew to gain some notoriety nationwide. Then I went on tour with Lupe Fiasco for 2 years in a row. I came back from that, had quite a name for myself, kept building on that. Right when I was about to leave, it was 2020, Chicago Music 2020. DKs, the city was doing a promo run for Chicago Music 2020. We were supposed to visit these cities out the country, and I was performing to showcase Chicago talent, and then the pandemic hit. So just getting back to the swing of things. I just got back from Atlanta 2 days ago. I gotta go out to LA sometime this month. But the Boyillinois has been making a name for himself for quite some time now. Yeah. All things music related, fashion, music, cover art. I actually started, nobody really knows, I started having cover art for every song.
Oh,
So
wow.
just a little history. Yeah. So back in the blog days when blogs were popular. So you normally only used to seeing cover art for a single or
Right.
the album,
Yeah.
right? So back in the blog days when people would just drop random songs or like just freestyles, they just used to have pictures of the artist randomly. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I had a project called Inhale Part 2, and I knew I didn't have a budget. And I made Inhale Part 2 at U of I, and I knew I didn't have a budget to shoot videos. So I was like, I'm gonna just do artwork for every song. And that's what I did. So every time they would post one of the songs on the blogs, it already had artwork to go with it. Nobody really had that at that time. So I just wanted to put that out there.
I just want to interrupt and just tell you, bro. I didn't know that. I appreciate that, but I always loved your cover arts, bro. They go
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
very particular about the
yeah.
the craftsmanship from top down. I'm very particular. I'm a Capricorn. I pay close attention to detail. Yeah, I'm just like,
Man, the Inhale Part 3, the
yeah,
cover art for that.
that's crazy. I was just bumping. I was with the homie Maba J and his
Yeah,
brother.
yeah. Maba
I was
J.
with Mob and his brother in
First
Atlanta.
of all, where is Maba J? I'm sorry,
He's
I'm
in
gonna be
Atlanta.
oh my god, yo, you tell I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk to you offline. I miss Maba J,
Yeah,
bro. That's my
yeah.
big bro.
I was just with him for the all last week. This week
He's
they
in
just
Atlanta. I gotta connect with him, man. Maba J has been big bro for
yeah,
years. Wow, yeah,
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 man.
yeah. Wow, man. And then speaking of that relationship, and I think you just gave a really nice overview of your upbringing and your past. And you've been doing this for over 2 decades, damn near your whole life.
Yeah, yep.
I'm very curious about because I remember interacting with you. And, we would link up and you be the parties, at Yoda House, all that. Like, and shout out to Femi and Jeff; those are my big bros too. Well, Femi, my bro; Jeff, my big bro. But the that interaction, the relationship that you had with a lot of the African, immigrant or kids of African immigrant community, you didn't really have that. You didn't really have a separation, right? And like, I wanted to know, how did that happen? I know your pops is Haitian, but you didn't really spend much time with that
Yeah,
until
no, I didn't grow up. I didn't grow up with the
yeah.
culture.
So
So it was
what
fine.
was that perspective like? Like, what was your perspective of African immigrants growing up?
So I grew up with two friends who were Nigerian from like my early elementary days.
Hmm.
And I definitely, I'm not gonna be transparent. I definitely used to participate in the jokes, the African jokes when I was younger. I mean, but as I got older, I matured faster than a lot of kids around me. I guess in my opinion, and also because my dad was very, very pivotal in my life.
Hmm.
So like I just recognized things as silly very early in my childhood. So growing up with them too, shout out to my homie Io Deji. You just that was like my first kind of like walk up to the door of the culture, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And it's a whole bunch of Nigerians. There's a lot of Nigerians. So
Hmm.
when I got to college, I'm also an open-minded person, but when I got to college, one of my best friends became Blink. Shout out to my homie Blink Nelson.
That's a Nelson.
And even that, Dominic, my Cameroonian homie,
Yeah.
me and him gravitated towards each other from the music freshman year. So like I really was gravitated toward like Chibo, Dale. Everybody kind of like gravitated towards each other, especially if he was of African descent already off top. But for me, it was just like, man, these was cool people. You know what I'm saying? Like it was all good. And it's like once I rock with two or three of them, it's a conglomerate now.
Yeah.
And I found being that I am half Haitian, but I'm still not of the culture. I'm still would technically call me a quote unquote African American. So just to have that African American lens and then just to be around, I've been like 24, like at least a good majority of my life since the freshman year of college. I've been around Nigerians, Ghanaians, or Cameroonians. So like my lifestyle is very intertwined with their lifestyle upbringing. Like just the family orients, you know what I'm saying? And then like the food is it's like the food. When I went to my first Nigerian party, I thought the cooler had drinks in it, but it had jollof in it. So I was confused. But I was like, yo, this is how much rice you're giving these motherfuckers. Yo, and it was like 2 or 3 coolers. I was
Yeah.
like, wow, of jollof.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm never,
And it's all gone, bro. It's gonna be gone by the end of the party, some way, somehow.
Me experiencing that in my very pivotal young adult age from 17 to like 23, from like participating in holidays, parents, bringing you in, dating or being involved with the homies' little cousins or something like that. You know what I'm saying? The women that's around. So it's like I'm getting my first taste of everything, all encompassing. And it really shaped, because that's a very important part of your life. From 17 on to like maybe like 25. Because I be telling people now, because I'm in my 30s, I'm like, man, I run to a lot of women now who are like 25, 26. I'm like, oh, you just got here. You just became an adult. I don't care what age, like you really just got here and you really want to experience life at this age. So from being a part of the culture from 17 to 25, really meant a lot. And also because I did music, I was always in the midst of Afrobeats, African music, anything African genre. I've been around this for at least 15, 16 years. Yeah. So when I talk to Bonsu, when I talk to D-Money, you know what I'm saying? All my homies who DJ, they like, man, they be like, man, you've been around. Like,
you've been rocking with it, bro. Like, real talk, for those who ain't listening, man, bro, he been rocking with this before it became cool.
Way before it became popular.
Way before it became cool, bro. I remember he was rocking. I mean, we shout out to Nelson when Nelson was really into music. His song, my favorite song of his is still Super.
Super is undeniable.
Hands down. One of my favorite songs.
You know why did he talk to him? Because he need to put it out, because that song is still to this day will go crazy.
It's
even now. And that's what I love. I just talked to him this morning, and we were talking about, taking the signs that I've been getting so far from the universe to go back full blast with the music. For like past 4 months, I just been traveling to different cities that I got a lot of connections in, and just reconnecting and letting people know I'm back in motion. But yeah, like me and Blink was like tag team champions of the world. Like he would do a show, I was the hype man. I would do a show, he was the hype man. Like it wasn't no separating us. We knew each other's songs like the back of our hand. And then I got blessed with the opportunity to actually go to Lagos. And, we stayed on Victoria Island. So I was in Nigeria for like 2 weeks. It was me, Chibo, Ogo, and Nelson.
We'll talk about that, bro. What was that like, man?
That was
that your first time? Like
that's my first time. That's my first time. So like from the jump, my flight was delayed out of going into New York, because I'm flying to New York, and then I'm flying to Cote d'Ivoire, and then I'm flying to Lagos. So the flight delayed, I'm worried. I'm like, man, this ain't like going to another state. I'm going to a whole other continent. Like this is bothering me. So we get to New York, and I'm running to the gate, trying not to miss my flight, not realizing that if coming into New York was delayed, then all of the connecting flights was delayed to get to New York. So ain't no use in me running. Right. So I'm running. I realize I get to the gate, it's still hella people. I'm like, I'm sweating profusely. Yeah. I go to the bathroom, change my shirt, come out, cool. You know what I'm saying? Get on. I flew Ethiopian.
Okay.
So I get on there, and beautiful Ethiopian women. Shout out to Ethiopia. And so I get on a plane. About maybe like 4 or 5 hours in, I have a wine. Then I have another one. Not bringing the science into everything, that I'm so far up in the air. I just sweated out like a motherfucker. So I'm dehydrated already before I got on the plane. I drink 2 things of wine, even more dehydration. I almost passed out. So I'm feeling like I can't breathe, and I'm trying to pull it all together. I get up from my seat, and luckily I had it was a seat next to me that was open, so I can just dip out. I go to the bathroom, bro. Before I make it to the bathroom, I just fell on the ground. I was still conscious, but I was just like, So the ladies came over, rushed me, like, you okay? I'm like, nah. Funniest stuff ever, bro. The dude was standing next to me. Like I was by his leg. He tapped me on the shoulder. He's like, hey man, you'll be all right. That just happened to me. I was like, oh snap. Okay. All right, cool. Like you gave me hope.
You got indoctrinated into the process.
I just laid on the ground and drank some water, some ice cold water. I'm like, this gonna work, because like I'm really going through it right now, lady. but I drank a cup of water and I was straight. Boy, that scared me half to death. So then I'll land in Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, and all the outlets look completely. I wasn't prepared for the outlets, so I'm like, my goodness. And I got like a 6-hour layover in this airport. I'm not finna go nowhere else. I'm not finna go out. I don't have no visa to go do nothing. So I'm in the airport for 6 hours, just chilling, buying Wi-Fi just so I can have something to do. Get to Lagos. Chibo and Nelson picked me up. I called Nelson on WhatsApp. He's like, hey man, whatever you do, he said, don't stop and talk to nobody.
Don't let nobody touch your bag, nothing.
So he was like, they're gonna ask you for money. They know you're not from here. Don't talk to nobody. I'm like, all right, cool, man. As soon as I can go to get my bag, I'm like, auntie, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get my bag. She's like, you need help? I'm like, no, I don't need help. Just give my bag. I go through. And it's so crazy because I had to go get the yellow fever shot. And I don't like getting any type of vaccines or shots whatsoever. I hate it. So I was like, I rejected everything else, but I knew they was like, you gotta have your yellow card to get it. Man, I didn't even check that shit. I was like, man. So I get there and she goes through my bag. She's like, you have something for auntie? I don't. I'm sorry. Starboy. Boom, gone. Boom. I get out the door. I see Chivo and Blink. I'm like, oh, let's go. Man, from the time I walked out of there, I've never ever experienced so much people traffic at an airport. Like car traffic, vehicle traffic, yeah. But like people just standing around, like that's very uncommon in the United States of America. So for me to see that, I'm like, this is like a kicking spot. Like, this is crazy. Like, folks, they really waiting for people to land. So I get there, we riding back, we're going to Victoria Island to stay at this apartment that we Airbnb'd out. Man, you get to seeing the fucking double-decker, like, supply buses with people sitting on them and shit. Like, he like, man, some of these people came here from like 20 plus hours away. I'm like, yo, this is wild. This is wild to see this. Like, up close, you see it all the time through, you know, maybe movies and stuff like that. But to see it up close in person, I'm like, yo, this is a poverty that I don't really know nothing about. Like, it's all relative, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day. So like, but seeing that type of poverty was interesting. So we get back to the apartment and go out immediately. So partying in Lagos is second to none. Absolutely. We was coming out the strip club at 6-7 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, yo, the sun is here. Like, I've done some, and it was for a week straight.
Don't go out once you get in there, Joe.
Yeah, I get it. But also where we stayed at across the street, like soon as morning hit, like you just seen hella people setting up shop, you know what I'm saying, to sell stuff. And you like, yo, this is different type of, I get it. So like when you actually see it, you like, I get why those of African descent will be there in their childhood and then come here and kill it, because like they hustle over here is completely different and way different than the stuff that what we call hustling over here. So for them to wake up in that heat every day and to be working and walking around like that and just consistent salesman, like consistent, like you consistently have to pitch stuff to people. Like you get why, like now you can take that and put it in a boardroom or put it in these meetings. And it's like, oh, you a pit bull now. Cause shit, you've been doing this your whole life. So like, this is nothing to you. Like you back in the streets. Yeah. So that it was just interesting to see a lot of different dynamics and compare it from here to United States of America. And like you will ride on a road that's a road for maybe like a half a mile, and then it's just like rubble for the next 2 miles. And my homie Blink was like, hey man, like some rich guy just wanted that part around his house, the road done, and that's it. Like, this shit crazy. This is crazy. It was amazing experience though. Also because like I've been around Nigerians for so many years, so it was just great to see exactly like the heart of the DNA of where they came from. So it was really cool. I enjoyed my time. Can't wait to go back.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you're gonna plan to go back at any time soon.
I will. Blink is getting married in August. Yeah. And I plan to go back, but I was like, man, yo, I got so much other stuff to pay for, and them tickets ain't no joke.
At all.
So I'll come back. I'll come back another time. I'll be back there another time.
Man, yo, I appreciate you sharing that. So then, like, the interesting part that you mentioned about that is that idea of the DNA, right? That hustle mentality, that like what we call Nigerians, we call that daily bread mentality, bro. Because if you don't get it today, that's it. Like this is how you eat on a day-to-day basis. Like you got to get the bread today to eat today, and got to get it tomorrow to eat for tomorrow. And like, when you think about coming here and that idea of the perspective, and I want to know what you think, but that's kind of what fuels a lot of the conversations as how African immigrants tend to look at African
Yeah,
Americans.
no, yeah.
You know what I'm
Absolutely,
saying?
absolutely. So yeah, that part goes in part with it. Like I understand both. Then that's for me. That's in my life in general. From even going to Catholic school and going to school with predominantly white people, was just to understand both perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I get why you think like that. I'm saying it's right.
Right.
Completely understand why you think like that. So even from that perspective, where they come here and be like, "Yo, Americans are lazy," this, that, and other. I'm like, I understand your perspective, but it's all relative. So it's like we've been conditioned to be like this, you know what I'm saying? And you just been conditioned to do X, Y, and Z. So I understand both perspectives, even when, African Americans have things to say about that. But no, I get it. I completely understand it. I get it.
So did you have that perspective before you went to Nigeria, or like, even like before that? What was that idea when someone would say that? What was your initial response?
Oh, I just understood. I understood just from being around y'all for so long. It was just like I've been around Africans for so long that we'll get into these type of conversations. So whenever it's brought to me, like, man, I had these type of deep conversations years and years ago because we always wanted to erase the divide. That was our whole thing. Is just like, nigga, we doing the same thing. It's just coming from different territories. You know what I'm saying? You playing the buckets and they playing the djembe. So it's like it's still, drumming all at the end of the day. And a lot of everything we do is pretty much similar at the end of the day. But it's and it's also, the same way they got this divide of black men and black women, or if you want to be referenced as, it's the same with the Africans and African or anybody amongst the diaspora worldwide. It's just make sure everybody stays disconnected and feel this way about them, or I feel better than you, or they're better than them. It's always that. But I was blessed and thankful to have that point of view around 16, 17 years old already. So whenever it was brought to my attention, it'd be like, I understand what you're saying, but peep this perspective. I never was defensive. I was always like, well, being that I've seen or understand both sides of the coin, like, check this out, So I've always did my best to, erase that divide and really school both sides on the perspectives and make sure that people realize, like, this is all the same thing. G, we got the same issues at the end of the day.
Yeah, G, because that's and I think you kind of already are hitting some of the points I was going to segue into in the conversation, which is, what do you think is or should be? Because that's one of the reasons I made this podcast, was just I want to bridge that gap, erase that divide, but not just erase it but I want to create a bridge where, just like you going back to Lagos, going back, that was your first time with Africa, or, I'm assuming at some point you're going to try to connect with Haiti. But just that idea of being able to go back and have that relationship, now you have a connection there where you can take advantage of what both places have to offer. I feel like that's a good step to be able to help reconcile that difference that exists between both groups. Understand that we all one, but it's also important to know that you got a whole nation of people who look just like you, who want you and what you have to offer. African Americans, if you talk about what they've done culturally to shake and move the world, bro, like not just to move the world, hip-hop culture, all that.
One thing that stood out to me is, as much as my African brothers say nigga, like, that is a Western world, westernized word. Like, you learned that word from that's not a term that is from there. So just from understanding, listen to the music, like, just that alone, you'd be like, it's so much cross influence, man. Especially right now, this is like the perfect time, and it's the perfect time to merge business.
Yes.
There's a lot of good business that can be going on across continents, and really, like, we can really be benefit. I talked to Blink, and just off the real estate, he was like, bro, you can get a beach house made here for X. I'm like, what?
Bro, talk about that. Talk about that joint right now, bro.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's
The land that's available and you know what I'm saying. The when you convert the money, it's much cheaper out there. And because everybody is now starting to come there because think about it, bro, like maybe a crop, but Lagos ain't no tourist spot. Like,
no,
yeah, I
no,
want to
no, no.
go to Lagos, Nigeria. Like, no, that's not a vacation spot.
No, it's not,
You
bro.
know, and everybody now is like piquing interest now. They want to go to either Lagos or Accra. So it's like you go to one or the other, and you know these people. Like case in point, when I went, the strippers that was in the strip club was from America. And
Wow.
some guys that brought them out there and just put them up somewhere. So it's like, man, you know, doing real estate out in a spot that, especially if you got a lot of connections to, it's like, hey, I can be out here, one or two, I can Airbnb this joint out. I can rent this out because somebody gonna need it down here, especially with all you got more companies coming down there, more festivals, more everything. So that just more bodies. And the bodies need to go places. And especially if they're foreign, they want things more upscale or more used to how they're doing things. And with that understanding, you can really, really make a killing. And I have some people already that's already building in Accra right now. But now land is listen, man, you can get some land and invest in some land, even just to have your homie. And I probably would be best is if you're not gonna be out there all the time, just have somebody that you really trust to watch over that, because they'll take your property with no problem any type of way.
Yeah. In a heartbeat. If you ain't got
That's another thing. Politics different, man. Politics completely different. Absolutely politics, even police. Like you want to just stay out of jail. Like if you got a nice amount of money at that point right now, it's like I can get out of this stoppage and continue my way. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, I see yo, I see that me and Blick get into an accident, G. A little side scrape, you know what I'm saying? They get out the car, start arguing with each other, get back in the car and leave. I'm like, what is going on? There's no exchange of insurance. There's not, it's just what you got to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And then that's what be like, damn, you know, I had the pleasure of recording Davido for his guest verse that he did on the Casanova and Tory Lanez song. But like when I see them guys with the Lamborghinis and the Jeep, I'm like, gee, y'all be wanting to drive these out here?
Roads?
I'll be my anxiety would go up crazy. Like I'm finna scratch this, I'm finna blow a tire. Something's bad about to happen, man. My vehicle, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a fucking Jeep Cherokee or something.
Flex is different over there, man.
It is, man. It's different.
I tell people all the time, man, like if you really want to see how like people spend money, like go there. Because you'll see it's reckless spending. You're like, bro, you got a Lambo on this road? Like what?
Reckless spending. Reckless. Foolish. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's interesting to see just the difference, the dynamics coming from here and going there. Yeah.
And so then like, so when we think about you mentioned the idea of just saying you understand both sides, and it's like, and like I said, we're trying to bridge this gap. And what do you think is the most important step to take in order to like to bridge?
I really think it's happening right now. That's the best way to merge cultures and people is music. And you got more African Americans than you ever thought. I was just in Atlanta with my cousin. It was a Rocksteady. Shout out to my Joe and Jacob. It was on my piano night.
Okay.
So he like, man, gee, he like, because he, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know he like, man, gee, like this African music taking over, bro. Like, I hardly hear trap music anymore. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much, even if you're in a regular establishment, it's gonna have a nice hefty 40% African music involved in it, some way, form, or fashion. Yeah. So like everybody's being exposed to it. I'm starting to see people go to. I want to go to Portugal. I want to go to here. They want to go there to go to Afro Nation. They finna have Afro Nation here. It's just like it's a whole trip, whole vacation. That's a whole experience. And also the very important thing about it is African music is a vibe, and it makes women dance. Bingo.
You want to get that money? Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
If you can consistently have women dance, you got it.
Yeah.
And that's the niche, because
that's right.
Once you can get them to dance and do whatever they want to do, then we're gonna follow. All the dudes gonna follow behind regardless.
Absolutely.
It's songs that I used to tell cats all the time, like it's songs that we play that we would never play if it was just guys around.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not playing Black Youngster Booty and it's just me and the homies kicking night. It's not a song that I choose to play.
Right.
I'm only gonna play that when women are around. So now you open up this whole just big box of like everything. And now so many artists are so prevalent. Now they can bring their culture in within the stories, because now you want to learn about the artist, or they got so big that you cannot not learn about them, you know? So people know where WizKid's from. People know, oh, he's speaking Yoruba, or this, that, and the other. You know, they might not know too much, but it's just those tidbits that lead people to, you know, further research and figure out like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying, this and that, you know. So the music right now, I feel like, is one of the most important things, and like the first step in bridging the gap.
That exposure to expansion type of thing, man.
Absolutely.
That's a real thing.
And it's something that's not educational, because you're gonna turn people off if it's all about like, let's learn and let's do. You bringing people in under the same premise, but it's under a good time. Let's just enjoy each other's company and its vibe. Enjoyment. You know what I'm saying?
Enjoyment. So, that's the phrase. Enjoyment. Now, do you think this is a temporary phase, like an era? Let's call it an era. Do you think this is a temporary era that we're in? Because I remember back when we remember reggaeton, that thing was, you know, there, you know, we had that wave where, I mean, for someone, when I was in the growing up in the African American immigrant community, it was like you didn't even want to say you were African, but you would say that you were Jamaican. You know what I'm saying? But now, you know, that's changed. So, like, do you think this is temporary and it's like a window that we got to take advantage of? Or is it like, man, you think this thing is here to stay? Music?
No, it's here to stay. It's here to stay. And it's how can I put it? It's just, everything goes in cycles, you know? It's to the point now where, like, because one thing I've always appreciated about, even from back in the day, like early 2000, like 2006, 2007, when listening to P Square, that's like that. I was me and Blink opened up for Wande Cole.
Yeah, Wande Cole, Styles Plus and them, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but one thing I always appreciated was the creativity of the art. Like, it's hard to find a bad African music video that's just trash, that they just do some stuff together, because even if they're throwing something together, it's going to be some type of creative aspect put into it. And I paid very close attention to that, versus how like we'll do here and just like shoot a video in one location and be like yeah, y'all could have did more, you know, y'all do a lot more with less. And it's coming back to the point where the true creatives are shining through. And at the end of the day, those who make just good music and can give it to you and package it to you in a creative way and tell a creative story with it. And I just feel like we're slowly drifting away from the microwavable things as far as music goes. So I feel like the vibe and the whole thing is not like temporary. And in the addition, because like you mentioned, we had that reggaeton vibe for a little hot second, but there was no social media at that point. So like, because a lot of the stuff that also plays into it is the TikToks. So if I'm using a certain artist's music, that song is just getting filtered over and over.
These mashups now, these mashups are becoming a thing too. Yeah, that's a fact.
So it's very interesting, and it's very dope to see. But I knew it was always going to get to this point. It just took time. Everything takes time, you know. But I don't think it's a fad at all.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think the part when it's like, you know, when you see like Beyonce and, you know, when they start, those high end start dabbling in that too.
Absolutely.
I mean, she made a whole album. So you know that thing is real. And bro, I mean, I could talk musically with you because all those eras, I mean, I was there. But I want to know, you know, you mentioned the idea of education and it being a turnoff. So I'm going to segue into a lot of the things that I know you do, you know, in the city, in Chicago. I know you know, working with the kids and being a dean of a school, you know, and doing all of that. First of all, how are you balancing that? That's the first thing. Before
I'm not a dean. That was Yeah. So I left in November,
Okay.
right before the year closed. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's wild. So like anything youth involved or any issues that has to deal with the youth, like I'm very much so, how can I put, like I seen them on an everyday basis
Mm,
from 7 a.m. to like 3:30. I'm
mm,
spending most of my time with these kids, and I get the troublemakers because I'm a dean.
mhm,
So when it comes to mindless behavior, I have a direct uh experience and understanding why
mm,
they behave the way that they do. Just
mm,
from having conversations with them being vulnerable and opening up. So it was a very interesting. I very much so appreciate it. I'm still connected to them. They all follow me on Instagram. So like I just had to tell one of my shorties the other day, he got posed all on the ground, got some, I don't know what type of gun he had in his hand. I'm like, hey, you know what I'm finna say, right? Took it down. He like, man, it's just treacherous out here. I'm like, you don't have to post this type of stuff, bro. Like, just come on. Like they know me. They respect me for that because they know I ain't finna be like, you shouldn't do that. I'm just be like, hey, look, all I gotta say is, you know what I'm finna say, right?
mm,
Yeah, Mr. Dalton, damn, okay. Like, hey, man, I feel a way if I ain't saying nothing
mm.
because
So
I just
how you get that how did you build that relationship and get that social capital with the youth, man? Because that's an important part. Get trust to be able to know that they can communicate and you gonna see and respect and hear them, but also, vice versa. How are you able to build that?
well, being part of the music culture, so
Mm,
like a lot of the lines are blurred now with as far as adults and teen entertainment. So a
mm,
lot of the stuff they watch and they timelines look identical to ours. So me understanding that, and then too, once they found me on Instagram, they thought I was super cool because they're like, "You got all these followers you was on TV." So like that's already they open off that. But I just understand them,
mm,
and that comes up. That's what I went from. And I tell you, this is crazy. I was a paraprofessional. So paraprofessional is basically you got 1 to 3 students you focus on who has autism or any type of learning disability. I went from paraprofessional to a dean in a year just
mm.
because
Wow.
of my relationship with all the kids in the school.
Yeah.
So I went from a paraprofessional to a dean, and then I switched schools. I was at a K-8 school, and then I went and did high school for a year and a half.
High school.
Yeah, high school is a lot of breaking up fights, and then at that point, I just stopped. I'm like, man, because I injured myself breaking up a fight,
Mm,
and I'm like, I'm not doing this. Y'all want to whoop y'all ass? Go ahead, do it. Everybody else back up.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But it's it's very interesting. But building that relationship was just very important. It all came from just understanding and then speaking their language. If you speak their language, man, what? Because I come in the morning. When we pat them down, not pat them down, we had to wind them down. They
Mm,
come in the morning. I got music playing.
mhm,
We got Steve Lacy.
mm.
Well, whatever. So one thing I never play drill music. I don't like drill music whatsoever. Even when they was playing, I'd be like, turn that off.
Wait,
No,
really? Okay, well, you got to talk about that too at
yeah,
some point. Keep going, bro.
yeah. But I don't play. I don't. They used to try to put it on videos up, take it out, turn it off. Like, nah, that's not the type of time we on.
Mm,
Not in here.
mm,
So anytime they come in the morning, I try to get them on the right point. And I even have some of them create playlists of songs they wanted to hear. But we'll play the clean versions because
yeah,
we got parents and stuff coming
yeah,
in. But
yeah,
yeah, so they just
yeah,
understanding. Once you have that understanding, man, you Gucci from them
yeah.
for the most part because they like, I feel you are older, you got way more responsibility, but you understand the stuff I gotta go through. And it's like, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So
That's really dope that you do that there because that's something that I also emulate when as a professor,
mhm.
when I was in the university, especially when there weren't that many black, I'm working at, these PWIs.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and so when you got these black students coming in and they're hearing music from whether it's, I'm playing something old like H to the Izzo or, I'm
Mhm.
playing something new that they listening to, it's automatically one of those things. I mean, the white kids, they listen, they in here,
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah, yeah,
too.
yeah.
So because I come in, I ask them what music they listen to, they write, they make their own playlist. We got a class playlist or whatever. But
Mhm.
my black kids and even my students of color, a lot
Yeah.
of them feel like, man, okay, man, like this is a space I can feel a little bit comfortable in because obviously you see a black professor, that's a black man too, but also knowing that, like, yeah, you understand the language that leaps and bounds and music being a huge
I'm
bridge.
saying.
That is a huge connector that people sometimes don't necessarily take advantage of when it comes to establishing relationships with the youth. Music, man, it's a
That's what
major
I was just
piece.
talking about with the merging of culture. Music is the best thing to do it.
Yeah,
Music is where it's at, man.
yeah, man. So okay, so then like, what do you think is? I mean, with all the things that's happening, um, I want to know what has your cultural experience working, just being, in these different diverse Black cultures. How
Mhm.
does that how does that influence you as a father?
Oh man, just bring her around a lot of stuff, different stuff, especially stuff that she may not understand, but I know she'll benefit from for being around and just being experienced because she's very smart. And then I was a social major, so from 0 to 7, those are very pivotal years in any a person's life.
Mm-hmm.
You get your formidable habits, your personality, character, things of that nature. So I'm just using these first several years to formulate that great foundation to express it and have her experience different cultures, be around different languages, see different people and meet different people. She got hella uncles, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Make sure, and they from all walks of life.
yeah,
And even though from her mom's side, it's the same thing. And that's also very valuable because we share the same values as far as raising her.
mm,
So even if we're not together, like I
mm,
know the job's getting done on her end and she know the job is getting done on my end.
yeah,
So it plays a big part. And then just from being an education, just letting her be a kid.
yeah,
I see a lot of the times parents try to rush their kids to grow up too fast, dress up too fast. And like, man, they let them enjoy the kid stuff, man. We getting SpongeBob shoes. Like we getting she loves Minnie Mouse shoe. What? She
yeah.
don't know what no designer, none of that is, bro. I want some Moana flip
Oh
flops.
God.
Need some
Hey,
Moana flip
I'm gonna get
flops. You
them
know what I'm
all.
saying?
Yeah.
With no problem.
Yep.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So like just making sure she remains her age, who she is, even in the midst of this project I'm working with her. Like,
Mhm.
I'm turning her to an animation. It's kind of like Gracie's Corner.
Mhm.
So that same motivation, and now I'm doing that with my daughter.
Mhm.
Uh, Even that is just like I didn't want to put her on camera.
Okay.
I'd rather it be an animated version of herself.
Yeah.
But it's because she loves YouTube, the YouTube shows, and Blippy and
Yeah.
Coco Melon,
Yeah.
Gracie's Corner, Keely. I know all the child programming, so that's another thing I'm actually doing in the process of doing right now is child programming, children's programming, and I will be having that sociology major behind me as well, just like understanding it. Like, oh man, I could do it and being an artist, so I'm doing all the music. I got somebody doing the animation. So yeah, just really, really making sure that she's exposed to different cultures and then making sure that she reminds herself that she's going on 4 next month. You're 4 years old. So I want you to identify as a 4-year-old, like
Right. Yeah.
4-year-old fun times.
Yeah.
A lot of kids also, very much so, unfortunately, a lot of us, period, grow up and have some type of traumatic thing that happens in our childhood that throws us off into another direction. And shielding and trying to make sure that she knows like certain things are acceptable and certain things are completely not acceptable. Like I'm the only man, me, your granddad, and that's about it. Like if a man has to take you to the bathroom, other than that, then it has to be a woman. So just instilling that, all those things that I see, all the mishaps that happen within the community,
Mhm.
and the telltale signs of, she only spends the night at my parents' house or my child's mother's
Yeah.
house. Those are only two places she's allowed to spend the night. We love everybody, but it's just,
Yeah.
we keep a tight knit thing when it comes to our daughter because she was born right in the crib. We had a home birth.
Oh
So
wow, really?
yeah, we had a home birth. So we very, very, very particular about the upbringing of our child. So, but we on the same page, which is also one of the best things.
Yeah, no, that's dope. Before I get into the whole idea of your connection with Haiti, I definitely want to ask a couple questions before I forget it. One,
Mhm.
why don't you like drill music?
Oh, it's just terrible.
Like
I
which
don't.
which drill music are you talking about? You talking about
I
all of
don't.
it?
I really
Which
don't like
part?
all of it, but I particularly don't like Chicago drill music
Oh,
because there's so much death behind it.
I don't even recognize Chicago drill music. When I think about
Yeah,
drill
that's
music,
crazy.
what?
So So the thing about it is New York drill music is actually UK grime
Exactly.
that turned into New York drill music, which I thought was interesting because I'm like, did nobody know that this was UK grime at first?
Stuff. Yeah.
This is the UK. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. I don't like Chicago drill. The content is terrible. I see this stuff on a day-to-day basis, especially working in high schools. So they be like, yeah, so-and-so got beef. No, this is the video. He talking about I'm like, gee, for y'all to even be knowing this type of information and what type of information that it is. It's like, I can't feed into this because I see how impressionable you guys are. And y'all really think this be the wave. So like, I always try to limit as much negative what I felt was negative content within the entertainment that they was even watching on their phones or trying to pull up on a TV or listen to off their phone. Like, nah, we're not having that today. I don't know what you do outside of the school, but while I'm the dean, we're not having that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Second thing is, you talked about going back to Africa and all that. What's your favorite African food?
So I just started back eating seafood again. I was a vegetarian for 7 years.
Okay.
Red snapper. So like in the sauce, with the jollof.
Yeah.
But I think jollof rice, Nigerian jollof rice.
Nigerian, okay.
Yeah, I've been to shout out to Dale, his auntie's spot, Nigerian kitchen. I'll just go there and just be like, order jollof. I was in Nigeria actually, and I went next door. I can't think of the fast food spot chain. And I was like, I just want some jollof rice. She's like, you want meat? I'm like, no, just rice. What are you talking like? What are you talking about? You don't want no meat? Like,
you probably was like a KFC or something.
It wasn't KFC, but it was like that. It was a different name. It was a local brand. But I'm like, yeah. I know y'all looking at me like, what? You don't want no meat with this? So like, no, I would eat jollof. I went to Dolly. Like I said, I went to Dolly's cousin. Shout out, happy birthday. So we went to Doug. I just had some jollof like maybe like 2 hours ago that I brought home that I warmed up because I couldn't eat it at the spot because it was my second plate and they ain't had no more utensils. So I didn't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, the yam, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I was like, because the girl I took, she was like, boy, you ain't finna eat that. You just you just looked at that for like 30 minutes. I'm like, I ain't had no spoon or no fork. So like, I'm not finna eat this with my hands in front of all y'all. No, I'm taking
this home. You rock with the pounded yam though?
I do, but I'm not the biggest. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a big jollof guy. You know, just give me jollof and fish. I'm good. I literally ate that damn near every day when I was in Vegas.
You can't go wrong with jollof.
When I did eat meat, suya. I love suya. Absolutely love suya. There used to be a dude outside a shrine every Sunday.
Oh yeah.
So even that was like. So if this small tidbit, like even that, right? Like I remember vividly him in his van, he would pull up at Shrine after the let out on Sunday, because that was African night. And he would have a suya wrapped up in like newspaper, you know what I'm saying? And Lanre, my big homie Lanre, like, man, this is how it is at home, you know what I'm saying? And then actually being in Nigeria and after the club at like 3 a.m., we on the streets getting street made suya. I'm like, oh, this is hidden. This is taking me there.
Yeah, but that's a transnational experience, bro. That's what this is all about. That idea of being able to create home away from home and sustain culture, sustain cultural presence. That's the reason why people can travel and you can still remain as Nigerian as you can be, right? Even though you're in the new world, you know what I mean? That's the dopest thing. And so, I want to know about your potential, not potential, I would just say, your connection to Haiti or your drive to want to connect to Haiti, and what steps you're taking towards trying to do that, right? Reconnecting with your pop side of your heritage.
The past couple of years, like I'm pretty much embedded in the Haitian community as far as the rap community, like. And keep folks I ate like in between, like, and it's not a lot of us, to be honest with you, that be outside, like around. because it's a very tight knit community. It's like if you know one Haitian, you pretty much know, or you're connected to somebody they know. From like 25, between 25 and 38, is we pretty much all know each other. So just connecting with them, and I'm learning Creole right now.
Okay.
So my daughter is able to speak it.
That's dope.
So like she'll say little stuff like, "Daddy, I want to manger." And manger is to eat. So just putting a little vocabulary words. So we're learning really at the same time. So we feeding off each other. That I just met my cousin for the first time at my mom's funeral. Like that was crazy to me. So I met him for the first time. We're supposed to link up soon. It's been one of the things that I always wanted to do, but it's been really difficult because my dad was born outside of his father's marriage. So he was always kind of like shunned or whatever, you know what I'm saying, as the outside kid. So a lot of the family dynamic was broken down way before I even got here. So when I was born, it was really just my grandmother and his sister, and his sister had a different father. So it was just different, and they passed when I was young. My grandfather, grandma, and my auntie. So after that, it's pretty much like I don't really know nobody else. It was just them three people. So I've been doing a lot of different things just to get back reinstated. But I got a lot of Haitian family, especially like in Florida. Like my music family. Like one of my big homies is Booger. Shout out to Booger. He's married to Wyclef's sister. So shout out to Rose. That's sis. That's big sis. We pate different. They make pate. Yeah. So just being connected, because like I would put that out there, just early music from the Jean Baptiste Project, Du Sable, the memoirs of Gilbert Gaston. And that's when I got connected to Wyclef, because I used clips from this documentary called The Ghost of City Soleil. And it's about this guy, Haitian Tupac. And Wyclef was in that documentary. I used some clips, and one of the homies who had put me in touch with Wyclef, with Booger, and then Booger put me in touch with Clef. Me and Clef linked up one time. He thought I could speak Creole, parler Creole. I was like, no, pas parler, no, pas parler. You know what I'm saying? Pas parler Creole. But and that's another thing too, because like older Haitians, if you can't parler Creole, then they don't consider you Haitian at all. It don't matter if you're 100%, 15, 50, they don't fuck with you.
Word?
At all, bro. Like they like, you're not Haitian. Like, you don't speak Creole.
You're American.
Yeah, you're not Haitian whatsoever. The younger cats, I think they'll let go because some of them can't really speak it either. You know what I'm saying? The super Americanized ones. But yeah, like, so that was another thing, because they'll clown you with no problem at all.
Yeah. Oh, bro. Yeah, that's amazing, man. Especially like just the authentication, man, like that process from the OGs, the OG Haitian, man. And Wyclef, Thug Angels is still one of the breakdown. Like Thug Angels is a good song, but the extended version, when he flips and turns into his Haitian, like, man.
Oh yeah. And that's big too. Like, like one of my designers, one of my homies, shout out to Bernie. I did a event for him on a boat in New York during, I think it was during Flag Week. He made a custom suit for me. I've been implementing myself here and there within the culture for the past like 5-6 years. And whenever I big up, it's always, I think I recognized it and like started like making it a main thing of mine before like Kodak even came on the scene, because I feel like he revitalized it. Because after Clef, that's all you knew was Clef is Haitian, and you really nobody else.
I was gonna bring up Kodak too, for sure.
And then Kodak came, and then it was like, oh, we identify with the Zoes and this, that, and the other. So it's like, yeah, you get it. And then I kind of look at my my temperament, and I'll be like, it's crazy because it's kind of stereotypical of a lot of Haitian men.
What's the stereotype?
It's very just like very protective, but I will fuck you up with no issues at all. Like none whatsoever. Like I don't go for none of that. Like I will hurt you severely. So it's just like, especially if it has anything to do with family. So I saw my dad like that. Then once I started being more around my people, I was like, I guess this is how my grandfather was. Because my grandfather passed when I was like 3 or 4 years old. And I don't remember that. So that's one of the beautiful things that, because my mom just passed, so my daughter is 3, but we have so many pictures and videos due to technology that like she see her every week. So it's like it's never a dull moment or a memory that's gonna go lost, because the way I think about I don't know him, I don't know him at all. You know, rest in peace to my, you know, he's one of the reasons why I'm here, but like I don't remember him whatsoever. So it's very important for me. Also, that part too is I have an altar, so it's always bigging up the ancestors, so she knows exactly who people were to me and to her and well, during this part of her journey. So
yeah, man. Now this is a part I will just put a disclaimer out there. I don't have to add this to it, but I want to ask, just as a friend, someone who see a brother, man,
yeah,
like how are you, going through mom's, passing and the mourning and the grieving. I mean, that happens. It's going to
yeah,
be continuous, but how are you handling that, and how's that inspiring anything that you're doing, music wise, life wise, all that?
man. So I'm very spiritual, more spiritual than a religious person for the most part. I'm definitely very familiar with different African spiritualities, whether they be Ifa or you got Santeria or even Vodun from Benin, which we have voodoo in Haiti. Very just familiar. So like even studying these different concepts and sciences and things of that nature, like death is interpreted very much differently than what we would consider death in the European type of framework and mind frame. And it's more so like this journey really isn't over. Physically, they're gone, but this is very in relative to time itself. Like this is a very short stint we spend in these suits in this matrix. That having a overall understanding of a certain spiritual aspect of it, I've been able to process it and declutter it very much more so as if I didn't. So I'm handling a lot better than even people in my family, like you handle it very well. Like I have my moments, of course, as my mom, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm like, man, yo, she can really help me a lot more at this point. And I feel like it's a lot of stuff that's been going on recently that I'm just like, I stay connected to my mom. I talk to her every day, see her every day. So it's just a lot of stuff that that she's been helping me with that maybe she wasn't able to physically do while she was a mere mortal on Earth. She implanted and embedded a great foundation in me. But now, beyond this realm, she's doing her magic, and I'm working. She's working very well with me, and it be times be like, damn, I wish my mom was here to see this. But at the end of the day, like again, that's more of I'll say an earthly way of thinking about things and limiting my thought process to just this place when there's way more than this that exists. So that's why I've been taking it so well, and like I've been really like I've been pushed to go back and do my purpose, because like after I left school in November, I really was taking, because my mom was sick, so I just been really just like not really doing too much. After she passed in January, I've been to like 6 cities. So I just been traveling a lot, reconnecting. And then every time I'll go, I'll be like, man, should I be doing this? And how am I going to pay for this? And this, that, and the other. Now it's an investment. And every time I go, some lines up the way it's supposed to. And I'm like,
yeah, it's working. She's helping.
Yep, working. Yeah. It's doing work. So yeah, no, I've been able to process it pretty well. So
yeah, man.
shout out to moms.
Yeah, shout out to moms, and she rests in peace, and
Yeah.
keep working, man, working. But so then that transitions into the last piece of what I'm gonna talk about with you, which is just reconnecting back to the music, reinvigorating, kind of lighting that fire back up for your music and all the things you're doing. So what is that? I know you talked a little bit about what you're doing with the animation, but as far as what you're trying to do now with the current music state, and what do you want to get out of it overall?
Right now it's really just because I have such a love for it. I'm gonna always do it, but one of my main passion projects is the kids music. Like, I'm gonna do my music regardless, whatever, but it's always gonna be more so of a funnel into the kids program, because just coming from education, I also understand how important visual stuff is now. So with the pandemic happening, like we had a lot of videos that we'll go on YouTube and pull up. So as far as that, that's even from part of the social emotional learning. Uh, it was through videos and visuals or music videos or something like that. So me understanding that and coming from that and being an artist and then being a father as well, it's like I know how important it is to have like people who look like us and speak our language, speak to the infancy of this journey we call life. So it's very important to set that off into a good, in a good motion and good direction. So that's like where I find myself at. Like I look at myself not on the Grammys. I'd rather be at the Nickelodeon Awards with my daughter. Like that's really what I look forward to, just having me and her really be a team and like do fun kid shit, man. Like stuff that she'd be like, yo, I did this and that, you know what I'm saying? And then still at the same time building a foundation to be, down to earth and don't look at nobody as, less than you, and take in everyone's opinion, but you don't have to listen to it. Just, that's real cool dad stuff, man. That's really what I'm focused on, is we're doing really cool dad stuff.
It's one of the coolest things. It's one of the coolest jobs you can have, bro.
It really is.
It really is. And especially during these times, like you said, at 0 to 7, when you mold and you can leave such an important imprint in their
Absolutely.
life. Like that's one of the main reasons why. I mean, even though I was in my position, but I wanted to stay in like academia, maybe not make as much money, but I would rather do that and spend more time with my kids than have the ability to be able to be home when they need me, be present at things and go to events. Those things matter, like you said, being able to go to the Nickelodeon Award with your daughter. I mean, those are memories, bro. When you talk about that connection that you talking about with your moms, you talk about building a true lineage, bro. Through recollection and you in there, bro. That's it. That's powerful, man. So yeah, my last question for you, man, as we wrap up, and I just want to thank you for your time, is what do you want your legacy to be, bro? I mean, you're doing so many good things. You have so many tracks, albums. I mean, there's going to be a way for people to hear your story in some way, shape, or form through your music. But ultimately, what do you want it to boil down to when people look back, your daughter look back, whoever, your students look back? What do you want that legacy to be, bro?
Man, I just made a step in the right direction for everybody else. That's really what it is. And I feel like with the talk of generational wealth, it ain't gonna be happening in one generation. As long as you're making the right step into the right direction. It's like, hey, if Pops ain't do this, or if Mr. Dalton ain't do X, Y, and Z, this next step couldn't have been taken to get to this next step and then this next step. So just a person that set things into the right direction, so that's all I want to do.
Yo, hey man, this is dope. I want to just take the time to just say thank you for jumping on the show.
Man. I appreciate it. This was great.
This was awesome, man. It's just good catching up. I mean, y'all came up together at U of I, so just being a major connection of some of my like I said, my big homies, and some of my homies, period, the mutual connections we have to be able to see you flourishing, not just outside but as a father, as a leader in the community, for someone that inspires the youth, man, especially here in the city. Just want to give you flowers now, bro, and just say thanks for all that you do. Salute to you, man.
Whatever. I appreciate it, man. Like,
you deserve it, bro. Whatever, I can do over here now that I moved back in the city, man. Please, I'd love to be able to help and support. I'm a big fan. So please, reach out. I'm here to connect and build, bro. And I hope that you continue to build in Africa too, because that's where it's at, bro.
Yeah, that's definitely the plan, man. And once I seen out, and it was crazy because like I went to Nigeria the right before the pandemic. So that December, and then January, February, the pandemic started. So like I got in there just the right amount of time. So it was good, but it was great to see. I loved being there. Can't wait to go back.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, again, thanks so much for joining. How can people follow you, reach you? People want to get in touch with you, man. Let me know.
At the Boyillinois. Google it. Google is free. So you'll be able to find me. It's at the Boyillinois on everything, man.
Only
Just
one, man.
yeah.
Truth be told, there's only one Boyillinois, man. So Google it.
Yes, indeed.
Instagram, wherever you look.
All right.
You find it, man. Bro, thanks so much for jumping on, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, man. I had a great time, man.